Hello and welcome! Silrace here with a Nosgoth guide, and this is about the vampire perks. But first, couple things before I move on to the perks themselves. So I decided to split the human and vampire perks into separate videos, so whichever ones you happen to be interested in, you just watch that video. Secondly, this is my opinion about the perks. So if you are making some perk I consider bad work for you, then awesome, keep doing what you are doing. And finally, if you are watching this from the future, then some numbers might have changed. There might have been balance changes to the game or whatnot. I'm doing this during the beta test of the game, so maybe some perk isn't quite as bad as I make it out to be, and it's worth trying out again if it has been buffed or whatnot. So let's get to the perks themselves. Firstly, Nimbleness. Wall climb speed is something every class can benefit from, but it does nothing for you during combats. I mean, if you are trying to escape from a combat with climbing a wall, then you probably are getting you know, whipped off the wall or even bollard off the wall. It doesn't always work for you that way. However, this can be useful for a sentinel, because a sentinel needs a little bit of elevation to get to fly again. So for the sentinel to get faster into air, maybe get this thing. Overall, I personally didn't find it very useful. Bloodlust is a playstyle reliant perk, because, well, you attack and move 15% faster after you get a kill. Now, if you go into a combat and you do not get a kill, then this did absolutely nothing for you. Go in and everyone focus fires you down and, well, you gained absolutely nothing from the perk. But if you get that early kill in, then it's easier to get the second kill because you attack and move faster. So this is very much a playstyle reliant thing, and also team reliant thing. And something to try out, but I personally didn't find it overall useful. There were too many situations where I couldn't trigger it, or I triggered it way too late. For example, when you kill the last enemy who is alive, then obviously having the attack speed bonus doesn't do anything. Blood Vitality. Having 5% extra health is kinda nifty. I mean, for most of the classes it's 50 points, and for the Tyrant it's 71. But if you look at it in the vacuum, it obviously is really good, right? I mean, having 50 extra health is kinda nifty, because it can allow you to survive in situations where you wouldn't otherwise survive. However, in all honesty, there is a lot of chip damage in this game, especially when you play the vampires. You might take a couple crossbow bolts to the face already before you go in, all that stuff. Having the extra 50 health usually does not matter for the combats themselves. So if you find that you are surviving in many places, you're surviving with less than 50 HP, then maybe this perk could be for you, because it would allow you to survive with a little more health. I personally never found it so. Either I got the kills and whatnot and we won the combat, or then I just got mowed down anyway. Didn't matter whether I had 50 more health or not. Feast is another perk I personally consider rather useless, because it does nothing for you during the combats. It is very rare where you can drag the first dead human out of the combat and start feasting on it to get health back, to go back in first. Because essentially this could be useful if you are initiating for your team, like the first dead human, you just drag it away and feast on it. In practice this almost never happens. And getting an extra 100 health, extra 200 health from a human, it just doesn't do all that much, in all honesty. It's like either you won the combat anyway and you are just getting the bonus health for the funsies of it, or then you just will not benefit from it because they won't allow you to feast during a combat. That's a good example. Personally, avoid this perk. Undying Wisdom is the perk to pick if you just want one perk which you can use for every single class. All the vampire classes have 3 abilities with a cooldown. Every single class can benefit from this quite a lot. Well, it got nerfed down from 15% to 10% a little while ago. Doesn't matter, it is still a really good perk. So if you just want one perk, pick Undying Wisdom. The contender for the Undying Wisdom though is Frenzy. all the vampire classes rely mostly on their melee attacks to deal damage to actually kill the humans. So having faster melee attack speed means you obviously do straight up more damage. So this is a good contender for the Undying Wisdom as the perk to get, which would benefit every single class. Obviously, if you are low health and don't want to go in so you don't get killed, then you don't benefit from this perk, while you can still benefit from Undying Wisdom. Just something to know. Berserker, this could be interesting on an enraged tyrant, because you want to go low on health anyways, and then you benefit more from it being low on health. And if you are someone who always goes in and stays into the fight until you are dead, then this could, well, allow you to get more kills, obviously, because you are sticking in there until you are dead anyway. However, if you don't get an extra kill from the melee damage increase and whatnot, then you basically gain nothing from this perk, because it only triggers once you are very low on health anyway. And if you do hit and run, you run away and let yourself heal a bit and then go back in, then this might not work for you at all. Personally, I never found this very useful. Regeneration, this is the ultimate hit and run perk, right? Because you can go in, take damage, run away, and you will start regenerating faster, and even when it starts regenerating, you will regenerate faster while doing that regen in itself. So this allows you as a tyrant, for example, or as a reaver or deceiver, whoever you use to initiate for your team. You go in first, you take damage, you break contact, let yourself regen, go back in. This is for you if you are doing that. Now it is quite hard to give specific perks for specific vampire classes, simply because there are two universally good perks for every single class, Undying Wisdom and Frenzy. And the rest of them depend on what you are doing for your particular game at hand. If you are initiating a lot, if you are doing a hit and run a lot where you take damage and you have to break combat, then regeneration can be absolutely for you. If you find you are clearing on the clear up duty, you come in when everything is almost dead anyway, then Bloodlust can be absolutely phenomenal. You come in, you finish off the one guy, you move on to the second guy, you finish off that, and you move on to the third guy. If you find yourself doing that, it can be absolutely phenomenal perk. However, those two are situational stuff, and that's with a lot of the vampire perks. Overall, there are only two perks which are always useful: Undying Wisdom and Frenzy. And if you are playing whatever class, you pick one from these two and you will do well, because it's always active and it will always help you during the combats. Whether it is to initiate the combat or get away from the combat, or during the combat with an actual activatable attacks. That's about it. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you found this enjoyable and maybe learned something.